So I've been getting a lot of comments on the YouTube videos asking if I'll do some how-tos. And I haven't done any just because I didn't know what to do a how-to video about. And all of a sudden I realized every time I go riding or I'm at some jumps, somebody, at least one person, asks me how to do a suicide no-hander. And I have some recollection of how I learned suicide no-handers, and I remember it took me a while. So I figured I might as well share those tips, because if you're going to start learning tricks, the suicide no-hander is like, it's just that perfect quintessential trick to learn. You can do it on any bike that has a seat. You can pretty much do it on any jump that offers up even the tiniest amount of airtime, and it's fun to do. And it'll get all your friends going, woo, way to go, if they're following you down the trail. Also, a ton of people are jumping on their trail bikes these days, and if I'm honest, it's even easier to learn on a trail bike or a downhill bike than it is on a dirt jump bike, because your seat is positioned right at your knees. And that's the trick to doing a suicide no-hander, is pinching the seat with your knees. So before you even go out and find the right jump to do this on, the practice starts anywhere you have flat ground. Parking lot, just the flats at your jumps, the trail leading back up to your jumps. So we're going to go out to my front yard right now, or the street, the driveway, and I'm going to teach you the first step in learning how to pinch the seat. I have a little exercise that I remember learning that helped me learn suicide no-handers. So let's grab the bike, let's go out to the front. So the first step is just making sure that your seat's at the right height. If you're on a dirt jump bike, the odds are your seat's going to hit you really low, like in the calves or something. So you want to raise it up, it'll be easier to learn. But if you're on a trail bike or a downhill bike, your seat's probably going to hit you right in the, right in the general area of your knee, either a little bit below the knee, right at the knee, or a little bit above. So on this bike for me right now, it's right above the knee, which is a good place to pinch. And if yours is a little too low, just raise it up. So anytime you're riding around, you can just practice doing that. And if it feels weird at first, it takes a little bit of practice. Your knees kind of bend backward in an unnatural way to pinch the seat. And if I tried to do it with my other foot forward, it's not as natural. It's just because I've been practicing with my left foot forward, because that's the stance I ride in. I've been practicing that way my whole life. So after a week or so, every time you ride your bike, just practicing pinching your seat, you can move on to the next step, which is just testing how good your pinch is, how much you have it actually attached to your body by your knees, by picking up the front wheel like a little manual and then dropping it. And if you stay connected to the bike, that means you have a good pinch. And that means if you're in the air and you take your hands off with that same pinch, your bike's probably not going to fall beneath you. So it's just like this. Lift the front tire up a little bit, take your hands off, and let the front tire land back down. And that's something you can just do, every single time you go riding. Practice the pinch, then do like that to test it. Your friends are going to be wondering what in the world you're doing every time you're getting ready to drop into the trailhead. You're like throwing your hands up in the air. But that's exactly how you learn. And once you've done that a bunch of times successfully, and your bike's not shooting out from underneath you and you're not falling, you can start testing it on a jump. And the first step with testing it is just getting in the air and just loosening up your grip a little bit. So I think we've reached the point in the video where we can go to the fun place. We can leave the street and go to the jump and start catching some air, start practicing slowly loosening our grips. Let's go. Next time you find yourself at some jumps, whether that be a jump spot or the trails, it doesn't even really have to be a big jump. It can be a small jump like this. Anytime you're in the air, just practice pinching your seat with your knees and loosening up your grip a little bit. It's total baby steps. You don't want to just, next time you're in the air, I've been working in the parking lot, I'm just going to take my hands off, because you might separate from the bike and you might not be trying no-handers for a little while. Oh shit. So you want to just take it one step at a time. And now I'm going to go through and show you the first step, which is just get in the air. You want to level out a little bit, like a nice, smooth, even trajectory. If you're like this, you're going to be wanting to spend the rest of your air time getting that front wheel down. If you're like this, yeah, that's not good. So you want to just work on leveling out. And that's going to put your seat right into your knees as well. So even before you start loosening your grip, just jump level and pinch that seat. I'll show you what that's like. So learning the suicide no-hander is basically perfecting the dead sailor first. You do nothing but pinch your seat And the rest of your friends are gonna think, wow, he used to have style. She used to have style. Why can they not jump anymore? Little do they know you're working on your suicide no-handers. Okay, it's all about baby steps. Once you trust your seat pinch, don't just fling your hands all the way out the back. Just open them up. Just instead of a no-hander, it's like a no-fingerer, right? You don't go straight from not being able to do no-handers to doing no-handers. You got to do the no-fingerer. Here we go. There we go. As soon as your friends think that you lost all your style, they're realizing that you're starting to loosen up your grips a little bit. And they'll go, oh, that's why. So many dead sailors. Right there, knees pinching the seat. And see that? I took my hands off a tiny bit just to test it. The bike didn't drop away. You can even test it with one hand too. You just start like slowly levitating that one hand off. But once you've done that right there, you've practiced your pinching and the hands come off and nothing bad happened, all of a sudden you get that big old boost of confidence and you're like, I'm one step closer to just laying off the back of the bike like Kyle Straight, or laying off the back of the bike like Mick Hanna through the finish line jump of a World Cup, Cedric Gracia through the old school dual slalom races. The no-hander is like, it's a classic trick. It applies everywhere, especially in front of your friends to impress them, make them jealous, and then you send them this video and then they learn them too, and then you're all just, look ma, no handsing all over the place. So after the first time jumping and taking your hands off, nothing bad happened, you start to get a little confident. You start to hold them off for a little bit longer. And you start thinking, oh my, all this time in the parking lot is finally paying off. Then you get overconfident and you crash. We're gonna skip that part. We're gonna skip right into starting to make them look good, all right? Is this the best looking suicide no-hander you've ever seen? I guess that's subjective. I would have to say no. I'd say it looks sick when you're standing straight up, and that only comes when you really trust your seat pinch. So if you find yourself going like this, go back to the parking lot, go back to doing this thing, and then leveling out the bike even more. If you can get real confident and start putting the nose lower than the back tire, that's gonna allow you to stand way up, and that's also gonna make your no-hander look good, but it's gonna bring your nose back up. So now you're like crossing over into Ryan Nyquist territory, James Foster on the BMX territory, of course Kyle Straight. Who else has got some really good no-handers? You after watching this video. So now we're gonna start lowering the nose a little bit more. This is where it gets a little bit daring because you don't want to go OTB, but just remember, if you trust your seat pinch and you throw your arms back and you lean back, not only does it make the trick look better, but it's functional as well. You're bringing that front tire back up. So let's get functional. Okay, now we're gonna take the same amount of speed, but we're gonna dip that front end down a little bit. All right, so basically, just have fun with it. If you learn them, sweet. If you don't, no worries. Keep on working on your seat pinches anytime you're riding along the flats. And when you're getting ready to start taking your hands off, just make sure you're level. If you're a little bit nosy, no worries. Don't take your hands off. Go try the jump again. If you're a little bit too loopy, don't worry about it. You can always turn around and go hit the jump again. Basically, just have fun with it. As soon as your hands start coming off, it's gonna feel good. And then you're gonna have a trick that can last you a lifetime, and you'll be a member of the club. Everybody can do a no-hander, right? Now you can too. Go try in the parking lot. Then go find yourself a nice jump. Then when you're done with that, you're so tired of riding, go watch one of these other videos. Look at this. The only reason I can do this is because I got the seat pinch, right? Go watch another video. Oh, here we go. Go watch another video. Couldn't have done that without a seat pinch.